Hello and welcome to Quays News. I'm Sean Carraher.
And I'm Olivia Lindley. Here's what's coming up on the programme today.
Coming up on the show today, we find out if social restrictions are being taken seriously on public transport.
Last week was Natural Hair Week.
And now, out of the mist of 3,000 years,
many women are celebrating their natural hair on social media.
And Jennifer Mawby visited a craft fair to find out how people expanded their businesses during the pandemic.
Here's the church and here's the steeple, but open up these doors and you'll find anything from
With lockdown lifting, more people are using public transport again, but is it safe to do so?
We're live with Annie Mae Walker at the Media City tram stop. So Annie, what is the situation down there?
Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we do seem to be having some technical difficulty. We are coming through to Annie now. How are we, Annie?
Tapping in and out of your tram fare is easy enough, but the real difficulty is deciding whether it's really worth it for the crowded commute as lockdown restrictions ease up. Now, it is increasingly difficult to keep a safe space on these trams, as passengers this morning reported being crowded like sardines on the Eccleston Media City tram line. Now, 27 trams have been commissioned to deal with the increasing demand as we regain a bit of normality. And a statement from Transport for Greater Manchester and the head of Metrolink, Danny Vaughan, said passenger safety is our top priority, which is why we have introduced a raft of new safety measures during the pandemic, including an extra 500 hours of cleaning each week and hand sanitisers in the stations, as well as tram ambassador customer safety representatives. We spoke to locals about their experiences with the trams.
We've driven to East Didsbury and ridden in on the Metrolink.
How did you find it? Is it busier than usual?
It's difficult to say how, because it's the first time we've used Metrolink for 14 months. Everybody seems to be fairly conscientious, yeah.
And you were spaced out enough?
Well spaced out. It's certainly quieter than it used to be.
How have you got into Media City today?
By train and then by the metro.
And how did you find both of those? Were they quite busy?
No, fairly empty actually. I haven't travelled into Manchester since last November, and I was a bit concerned, but it was okay, it was fine.
The train journey is fantastic. It's just, at my stage in life, it's free.
Busiest I've seen Manchester city centre in a long time, but what I noticed mostly was a lack of social distancing, and face coverings seem to have just gone in the bin. I think they just want to get back out and try, especially young people who want to enjoy their lives again.
Again, we do apologise once more. Thank you very much, Annie. We do have some technical difficulties, so Annie is off now. So, Libby, have you been on the tram since the restrictions started easing up again?
Yes, in the morning it can get really busy, but I do find the majority of people are wearing masks.
Well, Libby, I've got a weirder question for you now. Have you ever considered wearing a chicken nugget around your neck?
I can't say that I have, but along with other peculiar items that were on at the Craft and Flea Fair last Saturday, our reporter Jen Mawby went to Manchester Cathedral to find out more.
Here's the church and here's the steeple, but open up these doors and you'll find anything from a whale painting to a pair of cowboy boots. With shops opening up again, Manchester Cathedral was able to welcome people back to their craft fair run by Craft and Flea.
Vega launched her creative business Yellow Thread in 2019, selling anything from fruity jewellery to trolls. Today's event has given her motivation during lockdown.
But also it's like nice to sell stuff, see your customers, see who you're selling to, and people can ask you questions about things.
Most of Yellow Thread's followers are American, so how has she managed to market herself online as well as in person?
When when I made the chicken necklace, I tagged Depop in it because I was selling it on Depop, and they reposted it, and it got loads and loads of people following me from their repost.
Craft and Flea organises fairs up and down the country with a great mixture of local talent and finds. For stallholders like Ian, who does house clearances, it's all about reviving the old and celebrating the new.
Literally 100% of the stuff that we get, we try and recycle as best as we can. So this is why we do fairs like this, and it's all mainly vintage, or vintage now is classed as 1980s and before. So we have an interesting job, and we get paid to rummage through people's houses.
And of course, what sort of businessman would he be if he didn't try to sell me one of his treasures?
If you really wanted that, you could have it for half price, a £5.
I don't have any cassettes then.
Well, you have to start collecting cassettes, won't you then?
So with shoppers flocking to Manchester, perhaps the High Street faces some crafty competition. Jennifer Morby, Quays News.
And now, if you've been commuting into Manchester recently, you will have noticed as coronavirus cases restrictions ease, there are more cars out in the road. And more cars means more people needing to park.
Well, some motorists think they have found a new parking spot, but council officials are worried as it is under one of the city's main roads. Our reporter Matthew Spink was there earlier today.
So as you can see here, this strip under the Mancunian Way has been turned into a pop-up car park by local residents. Now, it was brought to the attention by local cycling campaigner James Stafford when he shared a video on his social media page this weekend. Officers from Manchester Council are aware of the situation and are looking at ways to stop it happening again. This isn't the first time it's been turned into a makeshift car park, as the end of last year also saw this strip be used by residents. It seems to be an easy, free way to park near the city centre, but is it the right thing to do, as it is a safety hazard for cars and passengers who want to commute into town? Now, with lockdown allowing us to open up again and get more into the city centre, this strip might be seen to be turned into a car park more often than it should be. Is parking becoming a problem in Manchester when residents are being forced to use strips under the Mancunian Way like this? I'm Matthew Spink, Quays News.
Now, when you've looked at your social media over the past few days, you may have noticed more celebrations from black people, especially women, about their hair.
Well, we have just come out of National Hair Week. It's about confidence in the kinky or coily, rather than the fixation on chemically manipulated styles. Yati Mboa has this report.
Easier. It's a familiar scene played out in black households through the generations, an obsession with the European standard of beauty that's now being questioned. Shama Godegwe has stopped using relaxers 6 years ago.
When I started becoming natural hair community was booming then. So I'm not going to call it peer pressure, but I'd say influential.
How has society shaped the perception of natural hair on black women? Is it changing, or is it ever going to change?
What I've seen within media is that people are not accepted for having their natural hair. You have to have it either in braids or in a wig to look quite Eurocentric. I do know that I was born in Zimbabwe, and our hair, you couldn't have your natural hair out. It's either it had to be cut or it was in braids. So already I think you're conditioned from a young age that your hair isn't good enough.
I just love the way PCJ makes our hair soft and silky and so easy to comb.
Originating in the US in the 1960s, the goal of Natural Hair Week is a celebration of kinky and Afro-textured hair on black women. With more black women choosing to wear their hair natural more than ever, there's been a push in the visual representation of kinks and tight curls in the film industry. Short films like Hair Love by Sony Pictures has amassed more than 65 million views on YouTube and 1.9 million likes, also winning the 2020 Oscar for Best Animated Short Film.
We have a firm belief that representation matters deeply. Especially in cartoons, because in cartoons, that's when we first see our movies, and it's how we shape our lives and think about how we see the world.
And now, out of the mist of 3,000 years, emerges today's beautiful black queen. Naturally beautiful, radiant, she is black essence.
Even a lot of people who, they're natural now, but I feel like there's still a movement towards wearing wigs, and the wigs are most likely to be straight. So it makes you think, are we really there yet? Because people are natural, but they're not really embracing it that much. So I think it's growing, natural hair is growing in popularity, but like at a slow rate.
Natural Hair Week is not a celebration everyone's heard of. It might be young in this country, but just like the Kinky Curls and Natural Hair Week, it's growing. Yachanaboa, Quays News.
I remember the good old days, but I really like the good new days.
Well, that's all we have time for today.
Make sure to check us out on social media at Quays News, and we'll be back with more next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.